What's up, everyone? Wednesday, halfway through the week. I don't really like to look at it that way, but I know that a lot of people do, and they kind of live for the weekend and they're hoping that that's coming up. So I just want you to think about that and think about how, even though you're living for the weekend, that you're doing everything that you possibly can to better yourself on the weekend. So, here's the deal. I posted something a little bit earlier about competition, how I think that competition is it's changed over time for me. When I was in high school and I was an athlete, I was a very competitive person, and you're competing with another team and you're trying to beat that other team, and that's what you're trying to do. But when you're away from that and you're not really on a team anymore, you have to figure out a way to stay competitive. And I used to, a couple months ago, when I started this job, I thought, hey, I'm going to be better than everyone else. I'm going to beat every person who's in the same class as me in my job. And one of those things that I try to do is be number one salesman, right? Because that's the number one goal, is to be the top guy, to be the person who is thought of as number one. And what I realized going through this whole situation, this whole process, is that the only person that I need to compete with is myself. Now, that sounds a little different, but what it means is that I'm able to beat myself. I am able to be striving to be better than I was yesterday. And that's really what it's about. Striving to be better than you were yesterday, doing one more thing than you did yesterday in order to reach your goals. And so I really want you to think about it that way. I don't want you to think about being in competition with someone else, because if you are in competition with someone else, which you already are, you're fighting every day to be better than whatever that other person does. But in reality, what it does is it starts to tear yourself down. And that's the way that I felt. As I've spoke about before, I was more of a person who was really like half empty, so what could I do more to fill that cup, because my cup was half empty? Well, if I thought of it as my cup being half full, it was what can I do to fill that cup up and be in a positive way? And so I would sit there and beat myself up about all the things that I was doing to not be better than the person beside me, or the person who was working beside me or doing the same thing that I was doing. What are they doing to improve their situation? What are they doing that's better than what I'm doing? And that was what I was trying to figure out. Well, the fact of the matter is they're not doing anything better than me, because I know that I work as hard as I possibly can. And so what you have to do is you have to check yourself and realize, are you working as hard as you possibly can? Are you doing every single thing that you can do to make your situation better for you? And if you're not, that's where it is. You have to compete with yourself. You have to beat yourself in your own game. So if yesterday you didn't get that sale, or you didn't reach your goal of whatever that was, why didn't you do that? And how can you make yourself better? Because guess what? I cannot control what the salesman next to me does. I can't control that someone else likes him more. I can't control that someone wasn't buying today. I can't control those things. And this is just in sales, but this is in life. You cannot control the fact that if you were an athlete, someone is more talented than you. But what you can do is you can outwork that person. And just because you have a lot of talent doesn't mean that you can't continue to outwork them. So I've seen it 1,000 times in my life. I've seen people who work hard get more. And I've seen people who have a lot of talent not get anything because they don't even try. I wasn't the most talented athlete in my school, but I worked pretty dang hard, and that's what made me successful. And so then you have other athletes who can run fast, jump higher, do all those things, but they weren't willing to work that hard to hone their skills. And so, I know Kobe Bryant just died, but you look at that guy and you think about all the things that he did and all the stories you hear about him staying at the gym 2 hours more than another player just to not be the last person to leave. And that's what it is. If you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to put in the work, things are going to get better. You can continue to try and control yourself and compete with yourself and not worry about what other people are doing. You still have to kind of worry about them a little bit, but the fact of the matter is that if you're doing the best job that you possibly can, it's going to work out in the end, whatever it's supposed to be. So continue to work hard today in every single thing that you do in every aspect of your life, because it will pay off. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.